In terms of burglars, you'd think that a big cat would be a pretty poor one. Surely it would knock things over with its chubby feline buttocks, or its swinging huge tail, or it would forgo taking that bejewelled chalice or pearl necklace in favour of devouring the house pug. Not only that, but this one is very bright pink in colour. Utterly useless at late night larceny, that colour, isn't it? And so the game will prove this to be. But more on that in a bit. In 1963, the Pink Panther was released in cinemas by United Artists, and it was a comedic farce starring the incredible Peter Sellers. The film follows the hapless detective Clouseau as he tries to capture the villainous phantom jewel thief before he gets his hands on the Pink Panther, which, rather than being a skinny puce puss, is actually a priceless diamond. That's not to say the famous animated panther doesn't at least appear in it, as surely he does, both in the opening credits and as a victim of the clumsy Clouseau as he drives off to close out the movie. 7 other movies would follow in the original series of Pink Panther movies, along with a pair of Steve Martin remakes which are best discussed in hushed tones as a way to scare children at Halloween, or as a way to ward them off of misbehaving by using a viewing of Pink Panther 2 as a threat. But by the time any of these subsequent movie sequels had come out, we had already seen the iconic character in his natural habitat, that not of the jungle but of a telly-cartoon, starting with the Pink Fink in 1964. These shorts would be very popular and would be followed by longer episodes in the shape of the Pink Panther show in 1969. This show usually had the blancmange-hued big cat annoying the hell out of a short-tempered character called the Little Man. The Pink Panther would do this effortlessly, while being all cool as a cucumber, like it had been in a freezer for ages. Don't bite a frozen cucumber, teeth will be lost. It had that cool theme tune, and that car. Who didn't like that car? Well, it looked like crap, that car, but the music went well with it. 62 episodes would be shown before it was followed by the all-new Pink Panther show, the one I would imagine most of the folk watching this channel will remember most fondly. One of the most memorable parts, for me, was the separate segments that had a blue Jewish New York accented aardvark chasing an ant. Who couldn't like that bit? I'll get that ant! Is that racist? Hopefully not. It was pretty much the same format as the original, and it ran for a long amount of time, eventually ending in 1990. There was also a series that ran in the 1990s, but can we just get to the game already, because even I'm bored at this stage. Pink Panther the game was clearly designed far more on the animated show than the Clouseau movies, and would be published by Gremlin Graphics in 1988 on all the major 8 and 16-bit computers of the time. It was programmed by Magic Bytes, an Anglo-Germanic company also responsible for Tom and Jerry 2, a game that I covered many moons ago, and no, there isn't a Tom and Jerry 1. Watch the video there to find out about that. Gremlin rather wonderfully put the digital adventure of the salmon moose coloured Meower on a fittingly pink cassette inside a similarly coloured cassette inlay. That is an appreciated level of detail. I'd take my hat off to you, but I'm not wearing a hat. The game finds the Panther having to find work as a butler as he's currently flat broke. But being a character known for his sticky paws, he uses this as a method of acquiring the valuables he will need to get back to his luxury lifestyle on a tropical beach paradise. A great plan. The Mog's plan is to steal from his boss Rees-Mogg while he dozes. Regrettably though, the owner of the stately home is a bit of a sleepwalker. In order for the Panther to steal all he can, so he can retire from his servitude, you must help your owner avoid the hazards around his estate and remain asleep while you grab all the trinkets that you can. The game then is a shepherding effort similar to the later Sleepwalker on the Amiga or Eek the Cat on the Super Nintendo, with the Panther using various inflatable tools and his directional bell to steer the napping toff away from potential hazards that will wake him up, thus discovering the silly old puss with his collection of stuff from his house. Well, that's the idea then. And it's quite a good one, I think. Quite original for the time. As I say, it was before Sleepwalker or Eek the Cat or any of those kind of shepherding games. The game though can just go and shove itself up a jaguar's. Why? It's too bastard hard, that's why. Is it a get good situation? Maybe. However, there's little in the way of RZX archive complete playthroughs of the Spectrum version, and there's one of them for nearly every single Spectrum game at this point. Let's take a look at why, using the very repetitive footage I have of this game, because I didn't get very far. There's no time to think or do anything from the very first screen. You have to absolutely peg it 3 screens ahead of where the sleeping boss is, and then you have to inflate a ramp stroke spring and then run back before he collides with a wall, so you can ring your bell so he walks around the wall and then onto the spring. So that doesn't sound too difficult, does it? Well, it bloody well is, and let me tell you why. The ramp stroke spring looks nothing like either of those things. There's absolutely dreadful menu selection controls that not only are very roughly responsive, but do not suspend the relentless march of the advancing Sleepwalker. There's no indication what you have to do in the game's manual on this first screen, or via any sort of tutorial, and there's no indication that you can't manoeuvre the chap using the bell around the rug. For some reason, this rug is dangerous. It's dreadful. Even with full knowledge of what to do, it is an absolute struggle to get the inflatable spring stroke ramp into place, and sometimes it will just up and disappear for no reason at all after you've laid it. This, remember, is the very first obstacle in the game. I succeeded a couple of times out of about 40 attempts after I'd gained knowledge of how to do it. At this point I knew I was not going to get on with this game, especially as just one collision ends the level you're on. You have to start again. It is without a doubt the most infuriating Spectrum game I've ever played, and I've played Airwolf. There's a few simple things that would have fixed this problem. Number keys could correspond to each of the Panther's tools rather than having to wrestle with combinations of fire and various directions to select the thing you needed in a tight time frame. Clearer graphics rather than the garish mishmash on screen would help with identifying obstacles and tools. Clear instructions in the game's minimalist instruction manual would have helped. A slower Sleepwalker that pauses while you're selecting the different objects from your menu screen. How about a few screens of just steering the somnambulist, that is a sleepwalker by the way, about with the bell before introducing the Panther's equipment? You know, to ease you in. I hate this game. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. It's dreadful. Gremlin have stolen your $8.99 like a pink cat burglar if you bought this. Don't play it. It's not worth it. Crash Magazine completely agreed with me. In their issue 57, they awarded it a 34% and summarised, "This Panther's rosy colour must surely be due to appearing in such an embarrassing tie-in." Your Sinclair's issue 35 criticised the game's control system of choosing objects and said, while original, it's a bit of a berm to play. What's a berm? The game got a 5 out of 10 from them. Finally, Sinclair users issue 80 called it a disappointing game of the hip cartoon series, along with an award of just 51%. Quite right too. What's next episode then? Well, I guess it'll be Halloween. And as we did the Monsters last year, shall we call in on another kooky family this? It's going to be the Addams Family. And yes, I know that was based on the film, not the TV show. but I'm sticking with it. So sod you. Like, subscribe, and Kay, thanks, bye.